Today's video is sponsored by you. I want to thank you for amazing 2023. I never expected people to enjoy the type of videos I make. So, to each and every one of you, whether you're new to my channel or have been with me from the start, thank you. I truly appreciate all of you just being here. I also want to thank you for being patient as I make these videos. As you guys know, these types of videos take a while to make. If you like the type of content I put out, please let me know by subscribing or commenting. Things like that really help me know whether I should create more videos like this. Here's to another year of creating content. Anyway, let's get into today's video. LEGO Fortnite is here. It's a new experience that adds to the ever-expanding metaverse. However, what you may not be aware of is that there were different versions of an open-world game mode that were developed over a period of 3 years. The development process involves deals with various companies, a lawsuit that exposed Epic's plans, a well-experienced employee who joined Epic Games, and many twists and turns along the way. I believe I got the whole story based on public information. Join me in exploring and discovering the story behind the creation of Fortnite's open-world survival game. Let's start from the beginning with some history. On August 13th, 2020, during the worst season in Fortnite history, Chapter 2 Season 3, players using Apple devices were presented with a new payment option when purchasing V-Bucks. This option was called Epic Direct Payment and allowed players to buy V-Bucks directly from Epic Games instead of using Apple's payment system, which charged a 30% tax. This new payment method violated Apple's App Store terms of service, and as a result, Apple removed Epic Games developer access to the App Store. Epic Games had anticipated this outcome and released a video called 1980 Fortnite and simultaneously sued Apple over its practices in the iOS App Store, which they claimed created a monopoly over payment options. Unfortunately, the lawsuit ended with Epic Games losing the case. Now, why would I mention all of this? Well, when a company sues another company, it has to be resolved by a court of law. Epic Games provided a notice of legal action against Apple, as well as the period it has to respond. During this time, Apple and Epic respectively had to have their slideshows made, there needed to be a judge, the plaintiff and defendant had to meet, and the jury had to be present. This is an oversimplification, and all of this is to say that something like this takes time. As we wait for the hearings to take place, let's take a look at what happened in September 2020. And would you look at that, Super Awesome has joined Epic Games. In case you're not familiar with Super Awesome, they are a leading kid tech platform that provides advertisers, developers, creators, and policymakers with the tools to create safer digital experiences for a younger audience in the metaverse and online. They have worked with brands such as Warner Bros., Hasbro, Nintendo, Disney, and LEGO. Interesting. Now, fast forward to May of 2021, to the second worst season of Chapter 2, Season 6. Things are heating up in the Epic Games vs. Apple lawsuit, and the United States District Court accidentally released a bombshell document that was not supposed to be posted online. The document contains Epic's quarterly business review through Apple services in June of 2020. The District Court realizes their mistake and removed it, and if you try to visit Epic's exhibits today, it would result in a dead link. But I managed to grab a copy of this document as it was already archived by Lucas7 Yoshi, so shout out to him. I believe since this document was released to the public, it means it's fair game to go over it. Maybe in a future video, I'll go more in depth with this document. But the important part is Epic's 2020 priorities. This is probably the first mention of Fortnite wanting to expand beyond the Battle Royale game. They are focused on creating an open world simulation sandbox. And with that, marks the beginning of Fortnite's journey into creating an open world survival game. Before we go down this rabbit hole, let me clarify a few things just to avoid any confusion and inconsistencies. As you may have noticed, we're in May of 2021, but we'll be jumping back to April 2021. The reason is that we got access to Epic's court documents in May of 2021, but this document was created sometime between Q2 of 2020 and 2021. so it makes sense to talk about this first. Going forward, I will try my best to organize the dates and provide explanations of important information as we progress through the years. Also, you will hear a lot of terms like Sandbox, Saturn Dungeon, Open-World, or Saturn Test. I'll make sure to differentiate between these modes for better understanding. You'll soon realize why there were several versions of this game mode. Also, I will be saying Saturn instead of Saturn Test, just know I'm talking about the same thing. So, let's not waste any more time, let's go. On April 27th, 2021, an unexpected and interesting tweet was posted by HypeX. It contains this. There was a new UMAP terrain added this update codenamed Sandbox. It has some bow spawns and the tree props in it are bigger than normal. It also has some weird thing to spawn random objects with a seed. So it seems that a new game mode may be released in the future. It was conveniently named Sandbox. It had weapon spawns that were related to the loot pool in Chapter 2 Season 6, larger props than those seen in Battle Royale Creative, and a seed function to spawn random props, which is a string of numbers that determines the layout of a world. Think of Minecraft when you generate a new world. HypeX provided some interesting images of the new mode, including a topography map, a rough layout of the biome, where the player would spawn, and the props that will randomly spawn on this island. HypeX's next tweet will provide further details regarding the Sandbox mode, such as the location of the file, and possible NPCs in this mode. In the tweet after that, he elaborated the seed function and what it spawns: trees, rock piles, stumps, bushes, and many more. HypeX also mentioned an object called Run Daddy, which he speculate might be the cube. However, he did not provide any further explanation about this object. HypeX would tweet one final time in collaboration with Fun Game Leaks to reveal the Sandbox mode in Fortnite after successfully loading the map in-game. Take a look. The video showcases foliage for different biomes, placeholders where weapons would spawn, props, and the overall environment of the map. This is all the tweets that are available about the Sandbox feature. These tweets and videos give us a glimpse of what could be added in the future, and the video appears to be heavily inspired by Chapter 2 Season 6. It showcases the primal biome and props that were predominantly used in Season 6. Moreover, the weapons in this video are mainly bows that were introduced in Season 6. When we compare HypeX's tweets to Epic court documents, this suggests that the development process is progressing, but it still appears to be in the early stages. It seems more like a concept where they're experimenting with the size of the props and terrain to see how the environment looks. It was radio silent after that. We believe that this mode was scrapped until... On August 10th, 2021, Fortnite was in Chapter 2 Season 7, and a huge new game mode was leaked. We go to FireMonkey with his tweet. The following LTM was updated. Saturn Test. In the past 4 months, 2 new game modes have been introduced, named Sandbox and now Saturn Test. If we assume that Sandbox and Saturn Test are the same, we would see significant progress and improvement in this previously unknown Sandbox mode. We have a new codename and an image of what this mode could look like. However, I believe that these 2 game modes are different, so I would treat Saturn Test as a new game mode. When comparing this image to regular Fortnite skins, the leaked image of this mode shows a big change in the appearance of these skins. Peely and Jonesy has a more cartoonish look, similar to mobile game characters. From the left to the right of the image, Peely is holding a magical staff, Jonesy is wielding a sword, Fishstick is holding a spear and a shield, and there's a giant creature in the background. Around the same time, Hypex broke the news to his community with the same image and saying that was probably the unreleased open game mode, as he was referring to the Epic court documents. However, 13 minutes later, another image of Saturn Test was added. This image shows the entire image of Fishstick holding a spear and a shield, and Cuddle Team Leader holding a bow with an arrow pulled back. It's strange how Fishstick and Cuddle Team Leader remained the same despite the changes in Jonesy and Peely. However, in the background, you can see a lady figure with a bunch of bows falling towards them. With these images put together, it becomes something bigger than we expected. New weapons and items, a landscape with secrets that we have to explore and find out. But with this, we are left with more questions rather than answers. Who is the creature behind them? What about the lady figure on the right? Or the characters underneath Cuddle Team Leader's arrow? Sadly, we may never know, because shortly after the playlist name and image were leaked, the playlist was removed from Fortnite's endpoint, which means any attempt to access information about this mode through an API ping will result in an error. 8 days after the Saturn LTM leak, Shina tweeted that he discovered a string called Saturn Dungeon. However, it is unclear what he meant by the big file, as I could not find any tweets mentioning it, or which skin had the string attached to it. Regardless, the string named Saturn Dungeon suggests that Saturn could have been an open-world dungeon crawler game mode. Unfortunately, after that tweet, everything went silent for Saturn. Days turned into months, and we never heard anything again about Saturn, signaling that the possible game mode was scrapped, never seeing the light of day. Now, here's the explanation for this Saturn game mode. In March 2023, more information was released which shed some light on what this is all about. When Shina discovered Saturn Dungeon string, he was onto something. As I suspected, Saturn was meant to be a dungeon game mode with quests, and Wojciech Madry was one of the leaders of this game mode, as his name was found in the file directory before the Saturn Dungeon folder. If we go deeper and learn about Madry, we find out that he is the lead of the content team in Fortnite Save the World. He is responsible for world creation, event content, quests, mission, and the narrative of the game. If you don't know about Fortnite Save the World, it's a PvE game mode where players complete missions that involve defending against waves of husks. You can describe Save the World as a mesh of sandbox survival co-op or an RPG tower defense game. What's more interesting is that Save the World also has an event called Dungeons, which is a dungeon crawler game mode. In my opinion, it's possible that Madry worked on Saturn with his knowledge of working on Save the World, and he wanted to create a new and improved version of Dungeons that appeals to a wider audience. Alternatively, it may be a completely different game mode with a new story, world generator, and more features that Save the World cannot provide due to its outdated engine. As I stated earlier, this is my opinion based on limited knowledge of Saturn and having played Dungeons before in Save the World. We will never know the true intentions of this LTM, and I find that quite disappointing. Well, it's interesting how things work out. In early February 2022, Zaxxas Persson announced his departure from the Xbox Minecraft team to start a new journey at Epic Games. Now, who is Zaxxas and why is he so important? Well, Zaxxas is a software developer who has worked for Microsoft since 2009. He started his career at Microsoft as a director for Xbox Live Arcade, but in 2015, he joined the Minecraft team after Microsoft's acquisition. Zaxxas played a key role in developing Minecraft Bedrock Edition and later became the co-chief creative officer at Mojang Studios. He was also involved in the development of Minecraft Earth and other virtual reality versions of Minecraft. Zax is interested in the metaverse and wants to help shape the future of creator-powered multiverse. Real quick, let me direct your attention to the About section of his page. Joined Epic Games to help shape the future of the creator-powered multiverses and make unannounced a reality? What does Epic Games have planned? Anyway, a programmer who knows the ins and outs of how Minecraft works. That is very interesting. Breaking news. Instead of saying it, let me play this quick video. That's right, the LEGO Group and Epic Games have announced a long-term partnership to create an immersive digital experience for kids of all ages. Initial thoughts were exciting, as LEGO is loved by many, and it's interesting to see what LEGO and Epic are planning to do. I thought it had to do with wanting to use Unreal Engine to create cinematic movies, but regardless, I have faith that it will be great, whatever they decide to create. After that, things settled down and business continued as usual. Chapter 3 Season 3 came and went, and Season 4 has begun. As the island was getting consumed by Chrome, we received interesting news on November 8th. It appears that something called Juno has been moved to a different branch named Dev Valkyrie, which I believe was the codename for UEFN, meaning that this Juno codename may be built using UEFN, or that the Dev Valkyrie branch is being used as a testing server. This is the first time we heard of Juno being mentioned publicly. We're not sure what it is, but we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Oh man, what have we got here? What we initially thought was going to be just another regular game mode has turned out to be something much bigger. There have been mentions of LEGO and LEGO bricks being in the game files, which makes it pretty clear that whatever Fortnite and LEGO are working on is going to be massive. Currently, we don't know what they are doing, but G-Matrix speculates that it could be a LEGO island, which does seem plausible. The fact that Epic is creating meshes specifically for LEGO bricks means that Fortnite and LEGO are working on something together. We don't know if it's going to be a Fortnite season, a UEFN map, or something else entirely, but we'll have to wait and see. An update for Juno tells us everything we need to know about this mode. This mode will have unique enemies, procedural world generation, custom UI elements, custom shaders that are different from regular Fortnite, and something called adventures. All of this information was in the files and then were removed. This means that whatever this Juno mode is, it will have a completely different look and feel from Fortnite, with a new user interface, unique enemies, and random world generation. Interestingly, this game mode sounds familiar to another game that a current employee used to work at. This is all becoming interesting. At the end of May, Epic Games is moving some of their staff to work on one of their 5 major projects, and it seems like Juno is one of them. Rumors suggest that this is the LEGO Fortnite collab and it could be released in Chapter 5. Things are heating up. Well, it's official. This LEGO collab is set to be released in Fortnite version 28.0, which is Chapter 5 Season 1, and it will have a random terrain generator that is the same as procedural world generation, building, and combat with a level system integrated. The Big Bang event will feature Juno, but it's unclear how Juno will be incorporated. We'll just have to wait and see for the full event on December 2nd.
I'm a LEGO! No way!
Are we playing? Where's the concert? I like this though. What is
I'm
happening?
freaking out! What's happening?
What is happening? Are you building a house?
No! Oh, this is actually so sick. Burgers! Wait, how come we didn't get to be? Oh, wait, I mean, I guess that would be myself then, but wow. It's actually looking sick.
Alright, we're done with the recap. Are you still with me? Now, oh, wait, sorry. Forgot to silence my phone. Wait. Oh no. Okay, so I wasn't completely honest with you guys. Wenzo found another playlist, codenamed Arnold. He had been tweeting about it for months, but I didn't pay attention until August 25th. Oh man, this just got really interesting. So, there's a new game mode codenamed Arnold that seems to be an open world LTM. Judging by G-Matrix mentioned that there's a pre-bus lobby, and of course, others are saying it's an LTM. What is interesting about this LTM is the biomes in this mode will be dynamic, and Epic recently started testing this mode. It feels like another version of the Impossible Escape LTM if you remember that. Due to the axe that it has, all animals will be enabled, and there will be some AIs around the map. The only unknown part is there will be a boss that plays a role in this LTM. The boss is the Inquisitor if you remember him from Fortnite 2022, but it's unknown how they will play a role in this LTM. Regardless, it's still a very interesting LTM. Now, as I'm recording, the latest update about Arnold is that it's still under development. It features a playlist lobby, which I believe is a background that is attached to the actual game mode. Think about switching from Battle Royale to another Fortnite experience like Lego, but that is all the information that is available for now. Hopefully, we will receive some updates soon. Now, let me clear up some confusion about the LTM. It has been rumored on Twitter that Arnold is Saturn, but that is not true. Saturn was scrapped in 2021, and Arnold is a different game mode. We know this because the creation date of Arnold is December 8th, 2023, and Saturn was entirely removed from the files, and there has been no further updates since then. Also, Arnold contains the Inquisitor boss, who was added in Fortnite Update 22.20 during Fortnitemares in Chapter 3 Season 4. Finally, the boss in the background of Saturn is unlike anything we have seen, and you best believe it would have been leaked by now if he was one of the main bosses. Now that I've disproven that Arnold and Saturn are not the same game mode, let's discuss other arguments regarding Sandbox, Saturn, and Juno. There are 4 possible arguments that can be made. First theory. Sandbox and Saturn might be the same project as they were both leaked in the same year, only 4 months apart. There's a possibility that they refer to the same thing, as project names can change over time. Both projects have an open world vibe, but one of them is a video while the other is shown in a photo. Second theory. This theory is that Saturn is actually Juno, but with 3 years of development under its belt. Sandbox could have been the initial name of the project, which eventually evolved into Saturn and then Juno. Third theory. If you look at the Sandbox video, you see that the island trees are the same as the trees in Juno. And finally, the fourth theory. Sandbox and Juno both mention using seeds to create their terrain. As compelling as all the arguments may seem, there are plenty of misconceptions that I could debunk right now. First theory. The Sandbox mode included Chapter 2 Season 6 props, weapons, and biomes. While Saturn does not show any gameplay footage, its image does reveal some details. There is no Season 6 biome in Saturn, and the trees Saturn used look different from the ones in Season 6. The trees in Season 6 look like they are dying, while Saturn's tree looks full and luscious. Sandbox's island appears limited compared to Saturn's background. Although blurry, you can see that the land in the photo is more extensive. The second theory about the evolution of Sandbox to Juno can be disproven right away. Saturn was planned to be a dungeon crawler game mode with quests, while Juno is a survival crafting game mode like Minecraft. Third theory. The mention of palm trees can be easily disproven by checking out creative. These palm trees are prop trees that have been used in other game modes. Lastly, both modes do mention seed generation. However, they generate different things. Sandbox only generates trees, rock piles, stumps, and bushes, while Juno's generation is for terrain. However, I found this interesting and no one is talking about it. In order to start, I have to refer to mythology, specifically Roman mythology. I won't dive into the details of who Saturn is, but I will focus on his children. Juno is one of Saturn's 6 children, meaning that Saturn could have been the first iteration of this open world game mode. Juno then used the framework of Saturn and built upon it, improving on what worked and what didn't work. This is my interpretation based on leaks, and if any Epic employee wishes to provide more clarity on these projects by lifting the curtain and explaining the story of Saturn, Sandbox, or Juno, they are welcome to do so here or on Twitter. Also, I feel like it would be cool to see how Epic operates on a daily basis to create various experiences and their daily day-to-day workflow. LEGO Fortnite provides an immersive and exciting gaming experience that goes beyond the traditional battle royale genre. The innovation of Epic Games and their willingness to step out of their comfort zone of just being another battle royale game is what keeps Fortnite alive. This is not the first or last time they will attempt new things. While some game modes may never see the light of day, such as Saturn, they will never stop searching for new ways to entice more people to stay on Fortnite and enjoy fresh experiences. Thank you for watching and subscribing. Let me know if there's any other topics you would like me to cover. I love you all, and I will see you very soon.